In the cold emptiness of deep space, far beyond the glowing edges of known stars, the mighty Xylax Empire fleet moved like a storm of metal and fire. Captain Zorvex stood on the bridge of his flagship, the dreadnought Vexor, his 4 eyes fixed on the viewscreen. His sharp teeth showed in a proud grin. They had come to claim a small human colony on the edge of their territory. Humans were weak, everyone knew that. Their ships were slow, their weapons old, their numbers few. This would be an easy victory. The fleet numbered over 500 warships, battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and swarms of fast fighters. They filled the sky like angry insects ready to sting. Zorvex turned to his weapons officer. "Status report," he barked. "All systems ready, Captain. The human colony has no defenses worth mentioning. We will be done in minutes." "Good. Order the first wave to advance. Let them see the power of the Xylax." The fighters launched like arrows from their carriers. They streaked toward the small blue planet below. The humans had only a few outdated orbital stations and a handful of patrol ships. Zorvex leaned forward, eager for the first explosions. But then something strange happened. A warning beep filled the bridge. The sensor officer's tentacles froze on his console. "Captain. Unknown contact detected. One ship, small signature. It just appeared. No jump trace, no warp signature. It came from nowhere." Zorvex frowned. "Show me." The viewscreen zoomed in. There it was, a single, dark warship. Long and sharp, like a black knife floating in the void. No lights, no engines glowing, no markings. It looked old, ancient even, but perfect. Not a scratch on its hull. It sat perfectly still between the Xylax fleet and the colony. The bridge crew laughed. One officer said, "One ship? Against us? The humans must be desperate." Zorvex felt a small twist in his stomach, but he pushed it away. "Send a squadron. Destroy it. Make an example." 10 fighters broke formation and rushed toward the mysterious ship. They opened fire. Bright green plasma bolts lit up the darkness. The shots flew straight and true. But nothing happened. The plasma simply vanished when it touched the dark hull. No flash, no explosion, no shield flare. The energy just disappeared, like it was swallowed. The fighters got closer. They fired again. More shots. More nothing. Then, without warning, the human ship moved. It did not turn or accelerate like normal ships. It simply was in one place, and then it was somewhere else. In a blink, it appeared among the fighters. A thin blue line shot out from its side, just one line, quick as a thought. Half the fighter squadron vanished in a silent white flash. No debris, no screams over comms. Just gone. The remaining fighters tried to turn back, panic in their pilots' voices. "Captain, they are gone. No wreckage." Zorvex's grin was gone. His claws dug into the armrests. "All ships, full alert. Target that thing. Fire everything." The fleet responded. Thousands of weapons lit up, lasers, missiles, railguns, plasma cannons. A wall of death rushed toward the lone human warship. The dark ship did not move. It waited. The attacks hit. Bright explosions covered its shape. The bridge crew cheered. But when the light faded, the ship was still there. Untouched. Not even warm. Zorvex felt cold fear crawl up his spine for the first time in his life. "What is it?" he whispered. Then the human ship spoke. A voice came over every channel, cold and calm, in perfect Xylax language. "You should have stayed away." The voice was not angry. It was not loud. It was certain. Like a judge saying the sentence. Zorvex slammed his fist on the console. "Who are you? Identify yourself." No answer. The dark ship began to move again, slowly, deliberately, toward the heart of the fleet. The Xylax ships opened fire once more, desperate now. But deep inside, every alien on every bridge knew something terrible. This was no ordinary ship. This was something else. And it had come for them. The nightmare was just beginning. Captain Zorvex stared at the viewscreen with growing anger and confusion. The dark human ship floated there, calm and untouched, as if the massive barrage of fire from his fleet had been nothing more than raindrops on stone. Thousands of weapons had struck it, lasers that could melt asteroids, missiles packed with enough force to crack moons, plasma streams hot enough to burn through battleship armor. Yet the black hull showed no marks, no scorch, no dents. The explosions had bloomed bright around it and then faded away, leaving the ship exactly as it was. Zorvex's claws tightened until they drew blood from his palms. "Impossible," he growled. "Run a full scan. Find the weakness." The sensor officer worked fast, tentacles dancing over controls. "Captain, the readings make no sense. Their energy signature is absorbing our attacks. It's eating the power, converting it. No heat buildup, no overload. Their shields, if they even have shields, are invisible and perfect." The bridge crew exchanged uneasy glances. One junior officer whispered, "Maybe it's not a ship. Maybe it's a ghost." Zorvex snapped, "Silence. We are the Xilax Empire. We do not fear ghosts." He turned to the weapons master. "Switch to concentrated fire. All battleships focus on one point. Overload it. Break through." Orders flew across the fleet. The massive cruisers aligned their main cannons. A deep hum filled the void as power built up. Then, in perfect unison, they unleashed hell. A single blinding beam of combined energy, thicker than a starship, slammed into the human vessel. The impact lit up space for kilometers. The light was so bright it hurt even through filters. For a moment, the bridge crew held their breath. Surely this time it would work. Surely this time the monster would crack. But when the glare died down, the dark ship was still there. Floating. Waiting. Not even pushed off course. Zorvex felt a cold wave wash over him. "Fire again," he ordered, voice low. "Everything. Do not stop." The fleet obeyed. Missiles launched in waves. Railguns spat solid slugs at near-light speed. Fighters darted in close, unloading torpedoes point-blank. The human ship sat in the center of the storm, unmoving. Then it happened. Without any visible warning, without engines flaring or weapons charging, a single thin blue beam lanced out from its side. The beam was narrow, almost delicate, like a needle of light. It touched the nearest Xilax battleship, the Iron Fong, one of their strongest vessels. The battleship did not explode in fire and shrapnel. It simply turned to dust. 1 second it was there, solid and proud. The next, it collapsed inward, metal crumbling into fine gray particles that drifted like ash in the wind. No scream from the crew. No final transmission. Just gone. Silence fell over the bridge. Then panic erupted. What was that? It didn't even charge. We lost the Iron Fong in one shot. Zorvex slammed his fist again. Form defensive sphere. Surround it. Do not let it move. The fleet scrambled to obey, ships shifting position to box the intruder in. But the human ship did not wait. It glided forward, smooth, silent, unstoppable. Another blue beam flicked out. Another cruiser vanished into nothing. Then another. Each time the beam was short, precise, almost lazy. Like the ship was bored. Like it was playing with them. The alien captains began shouting over open channels. "Retreat! Pull back! No, hold formation! It's too fast!" Zorvex's mind raced. This could not be happening. One ship against 500. It defied every rule of war. He opened a channel to the human vessel. "Stop! Identify yourself. What are you?" For a long moment, nothing. Then the cold voice returned, the same calm tone from before, speaking perfect Xilax. "I am the last guardian. You attacked the colony. You woke me. Now you pay." The words hung in the air like ice. Zorvex felt his heart pound hard. "Guardian? What guardian? Humans have no such weapon." The voice answered slowly, almost amused. "You thought we were weak. You thought we forgot. We did not forget. We waited." Before Zorvex could reply, the human ship accelerated, not with a roar of engines, but with a sudden, impossible burst of speed. It vanished from its position and reappeared right in the middle of a cluster of destroyers. 3 more blue beams. 3 more ships gone. Dust. Nothing left. The fleet was breaking. Fighters scattered in fear. Cruisers tried to jump to hyperspace, but something blocked their drives. Engines sputtered and died. The human ship had locked them in place. Zorvex's weapons officer looked up, face pale. "Captain, our weapons are losing power. It's draining us. Every shot we fire makes it stronger." Zorvex stared at the dark shape on the screen. It was closer now. So close they could see faint patterns on its hull, lines that looked almost like ancient human writing, glowing faintly blue. The voice spoke one last time. "Run if you want. It will not save you." The channel cut off. Zorvex turned to his crew, voice shaking with rage and fear. "All ships, maximum power to engines. We break through. We kill it. Or we die trying." The dark warship waited, patient as death itself. And deep in the void, it began to move again, straight toward the heart of the once mighty Xilax fleet. The first real battle had only just started, and already the aliens knew they were losing. The bridge of the dreadnought Vexor was now a place of fear and disbelief. Captain Zorvex stood frozen, his 4 eyes wide as the cold voice echoed through every speaker on every ship in the fleet. The words had been simple, clear, and spoken in flawless Xilax tongue. No accent. No hesitation. It was as if the human ship had studied their language for centuries. Zorvex slammed the comms panel. "Open a direct channel. Now." The officer obeyed with shaking tentacles. A red light blinked on. Zorvex leaned forward, trying to sound strong. "This is Captain Zorvex of the Xilax Empire. Identify yourself. State your purpose. You are trespassing in claimed space. Surrender or be destroyed." Silence stretched for several long seconds. Then the voice returned, calm and deep, like stone grinding on stone. "I have many names. To you, I am the last guardian. You attacked a human world. You killed their people. You woke me from sleep. That was your mistake." Zorvex's hearts raced. "Guardian? Humans have no guardian. They are scattered. Weak. Their empire fell long ago. This is a trick." A soft sound came through the channel, almost like a chuckle, but without warmth. "You know so little. 200 years ago, humans fought the galaxy alone. They won. They broke every fleet that came against them. Then they chose peace. They hid their greatest weapon. They put me to sleep in the dark between stars. I waited. I watched. I only wake when humans are threatened. You threatened them. So I woke." The bridge crew listened in stunned silence. One officer whispered, 200 years? That ship is ancient." Another said, "If it's true, we attacked a sleeping giant." Zorvex ignored them. "Lies. One ship cannot destroy an empire. Show yourself. Face us like warriors." The voice answered slowly, "I do not need to show myself. You will see enough soon." Without warning, the dark ship moved. Not with engines or thrusters, but with a flicker. One moment it floated in front of the fleet. The next, it was behind the massive carrier group at the rear. Before anyone could react, a single blue beam sliced through the biggest carrier. The ship split in half like paper cut by a knife. No explosion. No fire. Just clean separation. Debris drifted apart slowly. Escape pods launched in panic, but the human ship ignored them. It vanished again and reappeared in another position. Another beam. Another battleship gone. The fleet was no longer attacking. They were scattering, trying to survive. Zorvex roared, "All ships, hyperspace jump. Get out now." Engines hummed to life across the armada. Jump drives charged. But nothing happened. The stars did not blur. The ships stayed in normal space. The sensor officer cried out, "Jump inhibitors! Something is blocking our drives. We cannot leave." The voice spoke again, patient. "You do not run until I allow it." Zorvex felt rage mix with terror. "What do you want? Name your terms." "I want you to remember," the voice said. "Remember what happens when you attack the helpless. Remember that humans do not forget. They wait. And when they act, nothing stops them. A short pause. Then, look at your history. You thought humans were finished. You were wrong. They built me. They gave me their last warrior's mind. I carry their will. I carry their anger. You woke both. Zorvex's mind spun. A warrior's mind? Uploaded. It sounded like madness. But the proof was right there, the dark ship dancing through their formation, destroying ships with effortless precision. No crew visible. No life signs on scans. Just a machine. Or something more. The voice continued. Your empire will learn. Or it will end. Suddenly the human ship stopped moving. It hung in the center of the chaos, silent again. The fleet hesitated. Some ships still fired weakly. The beams vanished into the black hull. Others turned to flee at sublight speed, engines burning hot. Zorvex stared at the viewscreen. The dark shape looked bigger now. Closer. Patterns on its hull glowed faintly, old human symbols, circles and lines that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. He opened the channel once more. If you are so powerful, why not finish us? Why play games? The answer came quiet and final. Because I want witnesses. Go home. Tell your leaders. Tell your people. The Guardian is awake. The next attack on humans will be the last. The channel closed. Zorvex looked around the bridge. His crew was broken. Eyes down. Tentacles limp. No one spoke. Then the human ship turned. Not toward the colony. Not toward the fleeing ships. It pointed deeper into space, toward the direction of the Xilax homeworld. And it began to move again, slow, deliberate, unstoppable. The fleet watched in horror as their nightmare drifted away. But they knew. This was not mercy. This was a warning. And the warning carried death behind it. Deep in the void, the last Guardian had spoken. And the galaxy would never be the same. The void of space turned into a battlefield of panic and desperation. Captain Zorvex watched in helpless fury as his once proud fleet shattered into chaos. Ships that had moments ago fired with confidence now twisted and turned, engines screaming as they tried to escape the dark human warship. The Guardian, no longer just a mysterious shadow, moved with terrifying purpose. It did not chase wildly. It did not roar or blaze trails of fire. It simply appeared where it needed to be. One cruiser attempted a desperate hyperspace jump. Its drive spun up, stars beginning to stretch into lines. But before the ship could vanish, the dark vessel flickered into existence directly in its path. A single blue beam cut across the bow. The jump failed. The cruiser tumbled end over end, engines dead, drifting like a broken toy. Another group of destroyers veered hard to starboard, hoping to slip past the Guardian and reach the outer jump beacon. The human ship anticipated them. It vanished from its position and reappeared ahead, blocking the route like a silent wall. 2 quick beams. 2 more ships reduced to drifting dust. No wreckage floated. No survivors broadcast distress calls. Just silence where proud vessels had been. Zorvex opened fleet-wide comms, his voice cracking with rage. Do not scatter. Form up. We fight as one. But the words sounded hollow even to him. His officers looked at him with wide, fearful eyes. The sensor officer reported in a low voice, Captain, it's predicting every move. Our maneuvers. It knows them before we finish inputting the commands. Zorvex slammed the console. How? How does one machine read our minds? No one answered. Deep down, they all feared the truth. The Guardian was not guessing. It was waiting, patient, eternal. On the Homeworld Command Center, far across the stars, Supreme Admiral Krell received the frantic messages. His command room filled with urgent holograms of the battle. Officers shouted updates. One ship, Admiral. It's destroying our armada piece by piece. Krell, older and wiser, stared at the feed. The dark shape moved like a predator in slow motion. Impossible, he muttered. Send the reserve fleet. Every available vessel. Crush it now. Back in the battle zone, the Guardian ignored the fleeing ships for a moment. It turned toward the colony planet below. Scans showed human life signs, survivors on the surface, watching the sky with hope and terror. The ship did not land. It did not fire. It simply hovered, a silent protector. Then it moved again, this time toward the largest group of escaping cruisers. They had almost reached the jump point. Engines burned white-hot. Pilots pushed their ships beyond safety limits. The Guardian appeared in their midst without warning. No flash. No sound. Just there. A wide arc of blue energy swept across 3 cruisers at once. They crumpled inward, metal folding like paper, then dissolved into fine particles. The remaining ships broke formation completely. Some turned back toward the Guardian in suicide runs. Others fled in random directions, hoping distance would save them. Zorvex's flagship shook as another nearby destroyer vanished. He gripped the armrests until they bent. Inside the dark ship, something watched. Not through windows or cameras in the human way. Through every sensor, every shadow. A single mind, uploaded long ago, controlled everything. No crew walked its halls. No voices spoke in its corridors. Only quiet certainty. The Guardian did not hate. It did not enjoy. It simply acted. Because humans had asked it to. Because the old promise still held. Protect. Punish. End threats. Zorvex tried one last time. He opened the channel. Stop this. We surrender. Name your price. The voice returned, calm as ever. Surrender is too late. You attacked the colony. You killed without reason. Now you learn. The Guardian moved faster. It darted between fleeing ships, cutting them down one after another. Not in anger. Not rushed. Methodical. Like a farmer reaping a field. The fleet's numbers dropped below 200. Then 100. Fighters tried to swarm it. They died in flashes before they could close. Escape pods launched in waves. The Guardian ignored most. But some it caught gently, tractor beams pulling them inside its hull. No one knew why. No one dared ask. On the bridge, Zorvex's second-in-command whispered, "Captain, it's collecting prisoners." Why? Zorvex had no answer. Fear had replaced anger. He watched the viewscreen as the dark ship turned once more. This time it did not chase. It waited. The surviving ships slowed. Engines idled. They had nowhere left to run. The jump beacons were blocked. The Guardian blocked every path. Then, slowly, it began to pull in more pods. Tractor beams reached out like gentle fingers. Pods drifted toward the black hull and vanished inside. Zorvex felt a chill deeper than space itself. "It's taking them alive," he said. "For what?" The voice answered his unspoken question, broadcasting to the entire fleet. "Witnesses. You will see what happens next. You will carry the message home." The channel cut. The Guardian hung motionless now, surrounded by the broken remnants of the armada. Dust clouds drifted where mighty ships had been. Silence ruled the void. Zorvex looked at his crew. No one moved. No one spoke. They all knew. The chase was over. But the real terror was only beginning. Because the Guardian had not finished. It had only paused. And in that pause, the galaxy held its breath. The dark Guardian ship hung motionless in the center of the broken battlefield, surrounded by clouds of fine gray dust that had once been warships. Escape pods drifted slowly toward its hull, pulled by invisible beams that moved with gentle precision. Not all pods, only some. The ones carrying officers, captains, and crew who had broadcast surrender signals. The rest were left to float, ignored. Inside the flagship dreadnought Vexor, Captain Zorvex watched the viewscreen in stunned silence as 3 of his own escape pods vanished into the black hull without a sound. No explosions. No distress calls. Just gone. He turned to his remaining bridge crew. "What is it doing? Why take prisoners?" No one answered. Fear had stolen their voices. Then the Guardian spoke again, the same cold voice filling every channel across the surviving ships. "Selected prisoners will board. Do not resist. Resistance ends in dust." Zorvex felt his stomach's twist. He looked at the sensor readings. The Guardian's hull had opened. No visible doors, just a section of black metal that rippled like water and swallowed the pods whole. Inside, the aliens woke in darkness. The 3 pods had been guided into a large chamber. No lights at first. Then a soft blue glow rose from the floor, revealing smooth walls without seams, no chairs, no controls. Just a wide, empty space. The aliens stumbled out, weapons drawn, but their blasters felt useless here. A force field shimmered into existence around them, transparent, humming faintly. They could breathe. They could move. But they could not leave the circle. A voice spoke from everywhere and nowhere. Sit. Speak. Tell me why you attacked the colony. Zorvex's second-in-command, Lieutenant Vrax, stepped forward, trying to sound brave. We are Xylax. We take what we need. Humans are weak. Their worlds are empty. We claimed them. The voice answered slowly. Weak. You say that word often. Watch. The wall in front of them rippled like liquid. An image appeared, not a screen, but a perfect hologram that filled the space. It showed old battles. Human ships outnumbered 100 to 1. Human soldiers fighting on burning worlds. Human fleets turning entire armadas to scrap. The scenes played fast. Victories, sacrifices, endless war. Then peace. Humans signing treaties. Ships vanishing into deep space. Hiding. The hologram faded. The voice continued. We won every war. We could have ruled the galaxy. We chose not to. We built me instead. A weapon that sleeps until needed. You woke me. Now you see the cost. Vrax swallowed hard. If you are so strong, why hide? Why not conquer? Because power without purpose is madness, the voice said. Humans learned that lesson. We protect our own. We punish threats. Nothing more. One of the prisoners, a young technician, spoke up in a trembling voice. What happens to us? You live, the voice replied. You return home. You tell your empire the truth. One attack on humans ends in total destruction. The next will end your species. The aliens looked at each other. Hope flickered, mixed with terror. Zorvex, still on his bridge, listened to the broadcast leaking through open channels. He clenched his fists. It's toying with us. It wants fear. But even he could not deny the weight of the words. The Guardian had not lied. Every fact matched old forbidden records buried in Xylax archives, records his leaders had dismissed as myth. Humans had once been monsters. Then they vanished. Now one had returned. Inside the chamber, the force field lowered slightly. A small platform rose from the floor with food packs and water, human design, but edible for Xylax biology. The voice spoke again. Eat. Rest. You will need strength for the journey home. The prisoners hesitated, then took the supplies. They had no choice. Outside, the Guardian turned its attention back to the fleet. The surviving ships, barely 50 now, huddled together like frightened animals. Engines idled. Weapons stayed silent. They waited for death. But death did not come. Instead, a new signal pierced the void. Long-range comms from the Xylax homeworld. Supreme Admiral Krell's face appeared on every view screen. His voice boomed with forced confidence. All ships, this is High Command. A relief fleet is en route. 10,000 vessels. Elite hunters. The abomination will fall. Hold position. Fight until the end. Cheers rose weakly on some bridges. Others stayed quiet. Zorvex stared at the hologram of Krell. 10,000, he whispered. Will it even matter? The Guardian did not react to the news. It floated silent, patient. Inside the prisoner chamber, the voice spoke once more, low and certain. They send more. Good. More will learn. The blue glow dimmed slightly. The aliens felt a gentle pull. The ship was moving again. Not toward the colony. Not toward the jump points. Toward open space. Toward the direction of the incoming hunter fleet. Zorvex felt the dreadnought's engines rumble as it followed at a distance, pulled by the same invisible force that had trapped them all. The chase had ended. Now something worse approached. A reckoning. The Guardian carried its prisoners like trophies. It carried the broken fleet like a warning. And somewhere in its silent core, the uploaded mind of the last human warrior smiled without lips. The Empire had sent an army. The Guardian welcomed it. Because armies could be broken. And messages needed to be sent. The void grew darker. The wait began. And every alien heart beat faster, knowing the nightmare was far from over. The void between stars turned thick with tension as the Xylax Empire's response arrived. 10,000 ships poured out of hyperspace in perfect formation, a wall of metal and fury that blotted out entire sections of the starfield. Massive dreadnoughts led the charge, their hulls bristling with cannons larger than buildings. Behind them came carriers releasing swarms of fighters, cruisers forming tight defensive grids, and elite hunter vessels designed for one purpose: killing anything that moved. Supreme Admiral Krell's flagship, the Colossus, sat at the center like a dark heart. His voice broadcast across the fleet and straight to the Guardian. "This ends now. You are one machine against 10,000. Surrender or be erased." The surviving remnants of Zorvex's original armada drifted at the edge, broken and silent, watching as their reinforcements filled the sky. Captain Zorvex stood on his bridge, hope flickering for the first time since the nightmare began. "Finally," he whispered. "Now we crush it." The Guardian floated alone in the center of the growing storm. It did not move. It did not speak. It simply waited, its black hull reflecting nothing, absorbing the light around it. Krell gave the order. "All ships, primary weapons. Target the core. Fire on my mark." Thousands of targeting systems locked on. Energy readings spiked across every vessel. Then the command came. A tidal wave of destruction rolled forward, lasers thick as rivers, missiles in endless volleys, railgun slugs traveling at fractions of light speed, black hole generators humming to life, antimatter torpedoes streaking like comets. The combined fire lit the void brighter than a supernova. The Guardian vanished inside the storm. For long seconds, nothing could be seen but blinding white light and blooming explosions. Cheers erupted across the Xylax fleet. "It's gone. We hit it. Nothing survives that." But when the glare faded, the dark ship remained. Untouched. Not even pushed sideways. Its hull looked the same, smooth, cold, perfect. No scorch marks. No cracks. The energy had simply disappeared into it, swallowed whole. Krell stared in disbelief. "Impossible. Increase power. Use the singularity bombs." Elite hunters advanced. They launched weapons that twisted space itself, small artificial black holes meant to tear anything apart at the atomic level. The voids bloomed around the Guardian, pulling in light and debris. Space warped and screamed. Yet the ship sat calm in the center. The black holes bent away from it, redirected like water around a stone. One bomb detonated close enough to rip apart a nearby Xylax cruiser by accident. The Guardian did not flinch. It moved. Not fast at first. Slow. Deliberate. Like it was stretching after a long sleep. Then it accelerated. In a blink, it appeared among a cluster of hunters. A wide blue arc swept out, not a beam this time, but a wave. 10 ships vanished in silent flashes. No debris. Just empty space where they had been. Krell roared, "Flank it! Surround it!" The fleet obeyed. Cruisers and destroyers closed in from every direction. Fighters swarmed like angry insects. The Guardian danced through them. It flickered from one position to another, never using visible engines, never leaving a trail. Each time it reappeared, a beam or wave followed. Ships died in groups, 5 here, 20 there. A carrier tried to launch its full fighter complement. The Guardian cut the launch tubes before the fighters cleared. The carrier folded inward and dissolved. Panic spread through comms. "It's predicting us. Our weapons are feeding it. We can't lock on, it moves too fast." Krell slammed his command throne. "Use the neural disruptors. Shut down its systems." Specialized ships fired pulses designed to fry AI cores and overload minds. Invisible waves rolled across the Guardian. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ship paused. The fleet held its breath. Had they finally hurt it? But the pause was brief. The blue glow along its hull brightened. Then it spoke. The voice was louder this time, reaching every ship without need for open channels. You think you can silence me? I am beyond your machines. I am beyond your minds. The Guardian turned toward the Colossus. Krell felt cold sweat on his skin. All ships, protect the flagship. Form a shield wall. Hundreds of vessels moved to block the path. The Guardian did not slow. It plowed forward. Blue energy built along its bow, not a beam, but a growing sphere of light. It touched the first line of ships. They did not explode. They froze. Engines died. Weapons powered down. Crews screamed as systems failed one by one. The sphere expanded, swallowing more. Krell watched in horror as his shield wall crumbled. Then, one small hunter ship broke through the chaos and got dangerously close. Its sensors pierced deeper than any before. For a split second, the readings cleared. No crew. No life signs. No bridge. Just a single glowing core at the heart of the ship, pulsing blue, alive with energy. The core looked almost like a human brain, wired into every system, floating in perfect darkness. The hunter transmitted the scan before a beam ended it. The image flashed across every Xilax screen. Krell stared at the core. No crew, he whispered. It's alone. The Guardian stopped advancing. It hung there, the sphere fading. The voice spoke once more, soft and final. Now you see. I am not a ship. I am the last human will. And you have only begun to pay. The fleet hesitated. 10,000 had come. Thousands already lay in dust. The core glowed brighter. The Guardian prepared its next move. And every alien knew, the real battle was only starting. The hunter fleet had arrived. But the nightmare had been waiting for them. The hunter fleet hung frozen in shock as the final scan data from the destroyed hunter ship flooded every view screen in the armada. The image was clear, impossible to deny. At the very center of the dark Guardian vessel floated a single glowing core, pulsing blue light wrapped in intricate webs of ancient wiring and crystal conduits. No bridge. No crew quarters. No life support systems. No organic bodies walking corridors. Just that one core, suspended in perfect darkness, connected to every system like a heart beating inside a machine. Supreme Admiral Krell stared at the hologram, his face drained of color. No crew, he repeated slowly. It has been alone this entire time. Captain Zorvex, listening from his crippled flagship at the edge of the battle, felt a chill run through his spines. The prisoners inside the Guardian had seen nothing of this yet, but the broadcast reached them too. Lieutenant Vrax looked up at the rippling wall where the images now appeared. The force field shimmered as the voice spoke again, this time softer, almost reflective. You see now. I am not a ship with a pilot. I am the ship. And the pilot is me. The core on the screen pulsed brighter for a moment, as if acknowledging the words. The voice continued, calm and unhurried. 2 centuries ago, humanity faced extinction. Fleets from a dozen empires came against them. Humans fought alone. They won, but at a cost no one should pay. Their greatest warrior, a commander named Elias Kane, refused to let his people fall again. When the wars ended, he volunteered. His mind was scanned, his memories uploaded, his will fused with the most advanced vessel ever built. I became him. He became me. We sleep in the void until humans are threatened. You threatened them. So I woke. The prisoners inside the chamber stared in silence. One older Xilax officer whispered, "A mind, trapped forever?" The voice answered gently, "Not trapped. Chosen. I feel no pain. I feel only purpose. Protect. Punish. End threats. That is all that remains." Outside, the hunter fleet tried to regroup. Krell barked orders. "Target the core. If we destroy that, the ship dies." Weapons realigned. Energy readings climbed again. But the Guardian moved first. It accelerated smoothly, cutting through the formation like a shadow through light. Blue beams flicked out, short, precise. A dreadnought crumpled. A carrier split open. Each strike aimed not to waste, but to terrify. The core glowed brighter with every kill, as if drawing strength from the destruction. Krell's voice cracked over comms. You are not human anymore. You are a monster. The Guardian paused. The voice returned, carrying a trace of something almost sad. I was human once. I chose this so no more humans would have to die in war. You call me monster. Perhaps I am. But I am the monster that keeps the innocent safe. A memory flashed across every screen, old footage pulled from human archives the Guardian had stored inside itself. Elias Kane, young and fierce, standing on a burning bridge as his fleet turned the tide against impossible odds. Then the upload chamber, his final words before the scan, "If they come again, wake me. I will finish it." The footage ended. Silence fell over the fleet. Some ships stopped firing. Others backed away slowly. Krell refused to yield. All ships, singularity overload. Force a collapse around the core. Specialized vessels moved in close, generators humming dangerously. They created a micro-black hole aimed straight at the Guardian's heart. Space twisted violently. Light bent. The Guardian did not flee. Instead, it turned toward the attackers. The blue sphere expanded again, this time larger, brighter. It enveloped the Singularity ships. The black hole collapsed inward, harmless, absorbed like everything else. The attackers vanished in silent light. Krell watched his elite hunters die one after another. "Impossible," he whispered. "You cannot stop physics itself." The voice answered. "Humans did not stop physics. They mastered it. I am the result." The Guardian drifted closer to the Colossus now. The flagship's shields flared under invisible pressure. Systems flickered. Crews screamed as gravity fluctuated inside decks. Krell gripped his throne. "What do you want? Name it." "I want peace for humans," the voice said. "I want your empire to remember. Attack them again, and I return. Not to warn. To end." The core pulsed once, bright and final. The Guardian's weapons charged, not for a single strike, but for something bigger. A low hum filled the void. Every surviving Xilax ship felt it in their bones. The core was awakening fully. Power levels rose beyond anything the scanners could measure. Zorvex, watching from afar, understood at last. This was no machine. This was a will that had waited centuries, patient and unbreakable. The prisoners inside felt the ship tremble slightly. The voice spoke to them alone now. "Prepare. You will carry the truth home. Tell them the Guardian does not sleep forever. It only waits." Outside, the hunter fleet began to fracture. Some captains ordered retreat. Others fired in blind desperation. The Guardian ignored the weak attacks. It focused on the flagship. The blue sphere tightened around the Colossus. Krell's last words echoed across open channels. "You are death itself." The voice replied quietly. "No. I am justice." The sphere pulsed. The battle reached its breaking point. The core burned like a newborn star. And every alien knew, the truth had been revealed. The last human warrior had never truly died. He had simply become something greater. Something unstoppable. And now, the galaxy would learn what that meant. The Guardian ship hung like a black omen at the heart of the shattered hunter fleet, its core pulsing brighter than any star in the sector. Supreme Admiral Krell's Colossus trembled under the weight of invisible pressure as the blue sphere tightened around it, systems flickering, crews screaming in rising panic. 10,000 ships had come to end the nightmare. Now fewer than 3,000 remained, scattered, burning, or simply gone. The Guardian no longer played. It acted. The core flared once, a silent command rippling through every system. Hidden panels along the hull slid open without sound. Swarms of tiny machines poured out, nanoparticles so small they looked like silver mist under the glow of dying ships. The swarm spread fast, guided by the uploaded mind inside. It touched the nearest dreadnought. Metal began to dissolve. Armor plates bubbled and melted inward, not from heat, but from molecular breakdown. The ship's hull turned soft, then liquid, then dust. Crew compartments opened to vacuum in seconds. No time for escape pods. No time for screams over comms. Just collapse. The nanoswarms moved on, hungry, unstoppable. They ignored shields because shields were energy, and energy fed the Guardian. They ate through everything: hull, weapons, engines. A carrier tried to launch fighters as a last defense. The swarm reached it first. Launch bays clogged with dissolving metal. Fighters never left. The carrier folded inward like a crushed can and vanished into gray clouds. Krell roared orders. Divert all power to point defenses. Burn the swarm. Turrets spun. Lasers flashed. But the nanoparticles were too small, too many. Some burned away, but millions more slipped through. They reached the Colossus. Krell felt the deck vibrate under his feet. Alarms wailed. Hull breach on decks 12 through 19. Structural integrity failing. The Admiral gripped his throne. Fight it! We are Xylax. We do not fall to machines. But the machine was no ordinary foe. It was patient. It was precise. And now it unleashed more. Gravity waves rolled out from the Guardian's bow, ripples in space itself. Ships caught in the waves buckled. Hulls bent inward as if squeezed by giant hands. Cruisers snapped in half. Destroyers imploded. The waves did not destroy with fire. They crushed with pure force, folding metal and flesh together until nothing remained but compressed silence. One hunter captain broadcast a desperate plea. "Mercy! We retreat! We surrender!" The Guardian did not answer with words. A gravity pulse answered instead. The pleading ship crumpled into a perfect sphere the size of a small moon, then shattered into sparkling fragments. The fleet panicked completely. Formations broke. Ships rammed each other in blind flight. Engines overloaded, trying to outrun the inevitable. The Guardian pursued without haste. It flickered between groups, releasing swarms here, gravity waves there. Each move calculated. Each strike final. Inside the prisoner chamber, Lieutenant Vrax and the others watched through the rippling wall as the destruction unfolded. The images showed no joy, no rage, just efficiency. One prisoner fell to his knees. "It's ending us. All of us." The voice spoke softly to them alone. "Not all. You live to warn. The rest pay for the colony they burned." Outside, the numbers dropped fast. From thousands to hundreds. From hundreds to dozens. A cluster of elite hunters tried one last coordinated strike. They linked their antimatter cores, creating a chain reaction meant to tear a hole in reality itself. The Guardian waited until the last second. Then it released a time distortion field. Space around the attackers slowed. Crews moved in syrup. Weapons fired in slow motion. The Guardian glided through the frozen moment, untouched by the distortion. Blue beams lanced out. The linked ships aged centuries in heartbeats. Metal rusted. Circuits decayed. Crews withered to dust inside their suits. The chain reaction fizzled before it could begin. The attackers drifted apart, ancient ruins in seconds. Krell's flagship was almost alone now. The Colossus listed heavily, engines dark, weapons silent. The Admiral stood on his bridge, surrounded by dead consoles and terrified crew. "You win," he whispered to the void. "Take what you want." The Guardian approached slowly. The blue sphere enveloped the flagship completely. Inside, gravity fluctuated. Decks buckled. Air hissed from breaches. Krell felt his legs weaken. He looked up at the view screen. The dark hull filled every view. The voice spoke one final time to the fleet, or what was left of it. "Tell your empire. Humans are not weak. They are patient. They are protected. This is the price of forgetting." The sphere pulsed. The Colossus began to collapse inward. Metal groaned. Lights died one by one. Krell's last sight was the glowing core, bright and unyielding. Then nothing. The Guardian pulled back. The void was quiet again. Dust clouds drifted where an armada had been. Only a handful of crippled ships limped away, engines barely alive. The nanoswarms returned to the hull. The gravity waves faded. The time field dissolved. The Guardian floated alone, core dimming slightly, resting. It had destroyed not out of hate, but out of duty. The prisoners inside felt the ship turn. It headed toward the jump points it had once blocked. The voice spoke to them gently. "You will go home now. Tell them everything. Tell them the Guardian waits. And next time, there will be no survivors to carry the warning." The few remaining Xilax ships watched in horror as the dark vessel vanished into the distance. The battle was over. The hunter fleet was gone. Total destruction had come, swift and complete. And the galaxy knew one truth above all others. Never wake the Guardian again. The void was now a graveyard of dust and silence, lit only by the faint glow of the Guardian's core and the dying lights of the few Xilax ships still clinging to life. Supreme Admiral Krell's flagship, the Colossus, floated alone at the center of the wreckage, its once mighty hull twisted and scarred, engines dark, weapons silent. The nanoswarms had retreated back into the Guardian. The gravity waves had faded. The time distortion fields had dissolved. What remained of the hunter fleet, barely a dozen crippled vessels, huddled at the edges, too broken to run, too terrified to fight. The Guardian approached slowly, deliberately, its black shape growing larger on every view screen. Inside the Colossus, Krell stood on the ruined bridge. Sparks rained from broken consoles. Crew members lay unconscious or dead from earlier breaches. The Admiral's uniform was torn, his 4 eyes bloodshot. He opened the last open channel with trembling claws. "Stop," he said, voice hoarse and broken. "We surrender. Completely. No tricks. No traps. We yield." The Guardian did not answer immediately. It drifted closer until its hull filled the entire forward view. The blue glow along its edges pulsed once, slow and thoughtful. Then the voice returned, calm as ever, carrying no triumph, no anger. "Surrender. After all this. After the colony burned. After your fleets came to erase us." Krell swallowed hard. "We were wrong. We thought humans weak. We thought you gone. We know now. Please, let us live. Let the survivors carry your message. We will never attack again." The prisoners inside the Guardian chamber listened in tense silence. Lieutenant Vrax pressed his palms against the force field, watching the images on the rippling wall. The other captives held their breath. The voice spoke again, this time addressing the flagship directly. "You attacked without warning. You killed civilians. You sent armies to finish what you started. Mercy is not owed. It is earned." Krell bowed his head. "Name the price. Planets. Resources. Territories. We give it all." A long pause followed. The Guardian's core brightened slightly, as if considering. Then the voice spoke softly. "Go." The word hung in the void. No explanation. No conditions at first. The blue sphere that had begun to close around the Colossus pulled back. Systems on the flagship flickered back to life, barely. Engines hummed weakly. Life support stabilized just enough. Krell looked up in disbelief. "You let us leave." "Tell your empire," the Guardian said. "Tell every world that listens. Humans are not prey. They are guarded. The next fleet that comes will find no mercy. No prisoners. No warnings. Only dust." The few surviving ships received the same message. Tractor beams gently nudged them toward open space. Jump inhibitors lifted. Engines that had been locked now responded. The Guardian did not pursue. It floated motionless, watching as the broken remnants turned and limped away. One small cruiser tried to fire a parting shot in desperation. A single blue beam answered. The cruiser vanished mid-turn. The rest learned quickly. They ran. Inside the prisoner chamber, the force field lowered completely. A doorway appeared in the wall, smooth, seamless. The voice spoke to them alone. "You are released. A shuttle waits. It will take you to your homeworld. Speak the truth. Every detail. Hide nothing." Vrax stepped forward slowly. "Why spare us?" "Because messages need carriers," the voice replied. "And because humans do not kill for sport. They kill to protect. You are no longer a threat. You are witnesses." The prisoners walked through the doorway into a small shuttle bay. A simple craft waited, human design, old but functional. They boarded in silence. The ramp closed. The shuttle detached smoothly and drifted toward the nearest jump point. The Guardian watched it go. Then it turned. Not toward the colony. Not toward the fleeing ships. Toward the deep void where it had slept for centuries. The core dimmed gradually. The blue glow faded. The ship began to move away, slow and silent, vanishing into the darkness between stars. On the bridge of one escaping cruiser, a shaken captain whispered to his crew. "It let us go." "Why?" No one answered. They all knew. Mercy had been given, not because the Guardian was kind, but because it was certain. Certain that the message would spread. Certain that fear would keep the peace longer than more death. The colony below watched the sky clear. Human survivors emerged from shelters, staring up at the empty space where destruction had raged. They saw no ships. Only stars. And somewhere far away, a single dark vessel slipped back into its hiding place. The Guardian powered down non-essential systems. The core settled into low pulse. Sleep returned, but lighter now. Ready. Always ready. Krell's Colossus limped home, trailing smoke and silence. When it finally reached Zylac space, the Admiral would face his leaders. He would tell them everything. The core. The mind. The power. The warning. And the Empire would listen. Because the alternative was unthinkable. The Guardian had shown mercy once. It would not show it twice. Deep in the void, the last human will rest it again. Not gone. Not dead. Just waiting. Patient as time itself. And the galaxy turned quietly, forever changed by one lone ship that had appeared from nowhere and reminded everyone what humans could become when pushed too far. The last stand had ended. Mercy had been granted. But the shadow of the Guardian lingered, a promise etched in silence. Never again. The surviving Zylac ships limped home through the long silence of hyperspace, their hulls scarred, their crews broken in ways no weapon could repair. The Colossus led the ragged procession, engines straining under emergency power, life support barely holding. Supreme Admiral Krell sat alone on the dim bridge, staring at the star lines streaking past. No one spoke to him. No one dared. The prisoner's shuttle had jumped ahead, carrying Lieutenant Vrax and the others toward the homeworld. They would arrive first. They would speak first. And when they did, the Empire would change forever. Weeks later, the Xylac's capital planet buzzed with uneasy quiet. Massive crowds gathered in the central plaza under the towering spires of the Imperial Citadel. Leaders stood on high balconies, faces grim. The prisoners were brought forward under heavy guard, not as criminals, but as witnesses. Vrax stepped to the podium, voice steady despite the fear in his hearts. He told everything. The single dark ship that appeared from nowhere. The beams that turned battleships to dust. The nanoswarms that ate metal alive. The gravity waves that crushed steel like paper. The time fields that aged ships to ruin. The glowing core with no crew, only one mind, Elias Kane, the last human warrior, uploaded to protect his people forever. He described the voice. The mercy at the end. The warning that echoed in every survivor's mind, never attack humans again. The crowd listened in stunned silence. Some whispered denials. Others wept openly. When Vrax finished, the Emperor rose slowly. His voice carried across the plaza and every broadcast channel in the Empire. We were wrong. We thought humans forgotten. We thought them weak. We were fools. From this day, no Zylax vessel will cross into human space. No fleet will challenge them. The Guardian waits. And we will not wake it again. Cheers did not follow. Only heavy agreement. The message spread fast. Neighboring empires heard the stories. Traders carried the tale through every star lane. Pirates whispered it in dark ports. Even distant races who had never met humans began to speak of the lone warship that ended armies with calm precision. The legend grew. Some called it the Shadow of Kane. Others named it the Sleeping Death. But all agreed on one thing: humans were not gone. They were watched. Protected. And their protector never truly slept. Far below on the small colony world that had started it all, life returned slowly. Human settlers rebuilt homes burned in the first attack. Children played under open skies again. Patrol ships, normal human vessels now, orbited peacefully. No one spoke much of the Guardian. They did not need to. They had seen the sky clear. They had felt the shift in the void. Deep in the black between galaxies, where light barely reached, the dark warship floated once more. No engines hummed. No weapons glowed. The hull absorbed the faint starlight, becoming part of the darkness. Inside, the core pulsed low and steady, a quiet heartbeat in endless night. Elias Kane's mind rested there, memories of old wars fading into calm. He felt the colony safe. He felt the Empire retreat. He felt the warning take root across the stars. No rage burned in him. No sorrow weighed him down. Only purpose remained. Protect. Wait. Sleep until needed. The core dimmed further. Systems powered down to minimum. The Guardian slipped deeper into the void, vanishing from every scan, every map. It did not say goodbye. It did not need to. The galaxy already knew. On quiet nights, when ships passed near old battle zones, captains sometimes glanced at empty space and shivered. They imagined a shadow watching. A black knife floating silent. A voice that could return in an instant. And they flew on carefully, remembering. Humans were not conquerors. They were survivors. Patient. Hidden. But when cornered, they became something else. Something the universe feared. The Guardian slept again. Centuries might pass. Empires might rise and fall. But the promise held. If humans were threatened, if innocence burned, if fleets came with fire, the dark ship would wake. And when it did, no army would stand. No mercy would come. Only justice. Cold, complete, unstoppable. In the end, the galaxy learned a simple truth. Some humans never die. They just wait. And their wait is forever. The legend of the lone warship spread quietly, carried on whispers and warnings. It became a story told to children. A lesson for leaders. A reminder etched in the stars. Never forget. Never attack. Because somewhere in the dark, the Guardian listens. And it never forgets. The void closed around the black hull. Silence returned. Peace settled over the colony and beyond. For now. Until the next time. And when that time came, the Guardian would be ready. Always ready. The end.